Parliament approves $44 billion supplementary funding. Fire service says police headquarters fire was electric. Parents of 190,000 students receive cash handout. And FPSOs under real-time monitoring. I am Enrico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. The National Assembly has just approved another $44.8 billion Guyana dollars in supplementary funding. $21.8 billion will be allocated to the housing sector. While the government has promised aid to new homeowners in the form of building materials, the actual money for said program was not yet allocated, hence the funding. Of that $21.8 billion, over $5 billion will go to water connections for housing schemes. $4 billion of the total supplementary budget will go to the Public Works Ministry, mainly for works to the Demerara Harbor Bridge and additional resources for the Miscellaneous Roads Program. $3 billion will go to support the President's promise during the last National Two Showers Council Conference for continued development in Indigenous communities. GPL is getting $4 billion to help with their, quote, tremendous liquidity and cash flow crisis, end quote, which they mainly blamed on the increase in fuel costs and the fact that the government gave GPL a $4 billion bailout last year. Additionally, Gaisuco is getting more money. They are getting $3.4 billion in supplementary funding, which brings the total budgetary support that they've received since 2020 to $20.4 billion Ghana dollars. The remaining $7 billion will go to support miscellaneous overpriced budget items throughout the government ministries. GCOM says that local government elections could be held before the end of 2022. Demerara Waves says GCOM was expected to be ready to hold the polls in this November, but that was before the slippage in the timetable due to negotiations with a foreign company for the cross-matching of fingerprints. The CEO of GCOM said the company has changed ownership several times and no longer does fingerprint cross-matching, but GCOM managed to convince the entity to do just this one batch. GCOM does not set election dates, but informs the government on the soonest point in which it could be ready to hold said elections. There are an estimated 49,000 new registrants who are 14 years or older, and they are now expected to be added to the National Database of Registrants with the Commission's approval, and then a claims and objections period will be called before a new voters list for the local government elections is generated. Early this morning, 24-year-old Cindy Ramchandar was killed by her ex-husband in an attack that included him driving her off the road with his vehicle before stabbing her repeatedly on the side of the road in Quarantine the Beach. The suspect and the victim separated 2 months ago, according to Starbrook News. The alleged killer has been identified as Suraj Ganpat, and he is currently on the run from the police. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's Car of the Week. Currently on sale, this is 2016 Suzuki Jimmy Sierra 4-wheel drive. It's comes with regular and low-range 4-wheel drive, Bluetooth, mag rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamp, spot camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $3.4 million. All pay as low as $700,000 down, with around $67,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Bureau Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them we sent you for this sweet deal. 9 months after a fire gutted the police force's Office of Professional Responsibility at Eve Leary, the Guyana Fire Service has finally concluded its investigation. And on Friday, they released a statement saying that the cause of the blaze was electrical in origin. The release of the findings of the probe was delayed on several occasions and was only released on Friday after Gordon Mosey kept pestering them for a straight answer after they've evaded it for so many months. Gordon also reminded everyone that immediately after the fire occurred, Robeson Ben was quick to call it an arson and indirectly blamed Rickford Burke and his ilk for the blaze. Seeing as it has been proven to not have been an act of arson, I wonder if Burke could consider this cyberbullying. We'll see. The police are currently investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of Hog Island farmer Romeo Passard. The corpse said his body was discovered in the Essequibo River with his hands bound and his mouth covered, as well as obvious marks of violence about the corpse. Passard was last seen alive on Friday last. He had reportedly left Hog Island by speedboat to conduct business but had never returned. Relatives suspect foul play in his death. On Thursday, the police confiscated over 5 pounds of cannabis during a raid at Swan Village on the Soostdijk-Linden Highway. According to the police, when they visited Swan Village, a search was conducted in some bushes near Marudi Creek, and in that particular set of bushes were 3 black plastic bags full of weed. But no one was arrested for the find. That wasn't the only recent ganja bust. Over in Bartica, a 41-year-old businessman was arrested on Friday after the police found more than 2 pounds of cannabis buried near his house in the 4 Miles squatting area. While nothing illegal was found in his home, the officers reportedly found the ganja buried behind some bushes about 50 feet away from the man's house. He denied ownership of it. Nevertheless, he is still in police custody. So you need parts for your truck and you looked your eyeballs out and can't find it? Did you check Powered Automotive? Get high-quality DAF, International, Freightliner, Bedford TM, or Scammell truck parts at the lowest prices at Powered Automotive. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Eccles, or call them on telephone number 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. According to Minister Manik Chan, the parents of over 190,000 students nationwide received a cash handout this week at a cost of $5 billion Ghana dollars. However, she noted that many parents, especially those of private school students, were excluded for whatever reason. So in response, the ministry will host 2 more distributions to reach the parents who were left out. The dates of these distributions have yet to be announced. Speaking of cash handouts, Dr. Vindhya Prasad announced that the government's one-off $100,000 handout for children living with disabilities will be distributed across the country starting next week. She also said that the number of people receiving the government's $14,000 public assistance program is also expected to nearly double. Another 7,700 people, including children, will join the now 8,000 persons with disabilities who are already on the list. Over in Berbice, 25-year-old Clifton John Lindy died early Sunday morning in a motorcycle accident in Providence, Greater New Amsterdam. Lindy had reportedly lost control over the motorcycle he was driving while negotiating a turn and subsequently died before receiving medical treatment. According to the police force, alcohol may have played a role in the accident. Over in the diaspora, a New York City judge has sentenced 35-year-old Troy Thomas to 25 years to life in prison in connection with a fatal shooting in Queens, New York in December 2011. Thomas was extradited from Guyana to the U.S. in 2019 to face trial for the second-degree murder of Keith Frank. Thomas was found guilty of the crime this past May, and Queens Supreme Court Justice Michael Yavinsky slapped Thomas with the 25 years life sentence on Friday. Now for today's oil update. Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat told Parliament last month that the EPA has taken on several international consultants as well as satellite monitoring systems to help them scrutinize Exxon's offshore operations. He also said there is a 13-person team dedicated full-time towards monitoring oil and gas activities. It was also made known that the Guyana National Bureau of Standards has greatly increased their capacity over the past 2 years, and they are now equipped with real-time monitoring capabilities. This also includes a dedicated GNPS employee on each FPSO. This is important as the agency has responsibility for standardization, formulation, and applications of standards, technical regulations, conformity assessment procedures, as well as meteorology. These statements from Bharat come after former EPA head Vincent Alexander questioned the monitoring capabilities of the nation's oil industry regulators. It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest, now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. Now for our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. On Friday, I asked what would you like to see us cover in a future Guyana history segment. Lloyd Bartholomew says it would be great to have a series on Guyana's history, how Guyana evolved over the years, starting with the indigenous peoples. I'll see. I'll really try it for that. So, before we get to tonight's question, you can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for tonight's question. How do you feel about the latest multi-billion-dollar supplementary budget? Is it a sign of growth or irresponsible spending? I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Enrico Bulford saying good night, folks.